I never thought I would reach the day when I told my wife and her two kids to pack their bags and get out of the house I paid for. But that day came, and I meant every single word. For 8 years, I poured my money, my time, and my heart into building a family that was never truly mine. And in return, I was treated like a wallet with legs, nothing more. The moment I looked into their eyes and said, "This is no longer your home. Go stay with your real father," I felt something snap inside me. It wasn't rage, it was clarity. I realized I had been living as a stranger in my own home. So let me ask you, if you gave everything to raise children who weren't yours, only to be disrespected and dismissed, what would you do? Would you swallow your pride and stay silent? Or would you finally stand up and draw the line, even if it shattered the family you tried to hold together? My name is Mark Reynolds. I'm 44 years old, and for the past 8 years, I've been married to Sophie. When we met, she was a single mother raising two kids, Ryan, who is now 18, and Chloe, 16. Their biological father, Peter, was what you might call a ghost parent. He appeared when it suited him, dropped off holiday cards months late, and made promises he never kept. To Ryan and Chloe, he was more of a rumor than a real parent. When Sophie and I built our life together, I stepped into that empty space. I wasn't perfect, but I was present. I paid the mortgage when we bought our home, covered every bill, and put food on the table without complaint. When Chloe fell ill at 14 and needed expensive treatment, I didn't hesitate. I signed the checks, drove her to appointments, and stayed up at night when she couldn't sleep. When Ryan needed braces, I paid for them, even though it meant draining my savings. I did all of this because I believed love and consistency mattered more than blood. I believed that if I showed up day after day, they would see me as their father. I told myself that loyalty and responsibility would earn me respect in a family that wasn't originally mine. But looking back now, I see how naive that was. I thought effort was enough. I thought love would be enough. It wasn't. Things began to shift about 6 months ago. Ryan had just started dating his first serious girlfriend, and almost overnight, he turned from the boy I guided into a young man full of arrogance. He grew dismissive, always looking for a chance to argue over the smallest things. If I asked him to take out the trash or help mow the lawn, he would snap back, "You're not my dad. Why should I listen to you?" Chloe, who once called me dad with ease, also began to drift away. She spent more time locked in her room, her laughter saved for friends on FaceTime. One afternoon, I overheard her telling a friend, "Mark acts like he owns the place. He's so annoying." Then they both burst out laughing. That moment stung deeply. I had carried her through fevers, paid for her medicine, stayed up all night when she was sick, and now I was reduced to the annoying landlord. The hardest part? Sophie saw it all. She heard Ryan's outbursts, noticed Chloe's distance, but stayed silent. She just sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone, as if my role in this family was invisible. It was then I realized the bitter truth. To them, I wasn't a father. I was only the man funding their comfort. It wasn't Ryan's arrogance or Chloe's distance that finally broke me. Those things hurt, yes, but I told myself they were just teenagers acting out. What shattered me came from the one person I believed was on my side, Sophie. One Saturday morning, I was in the garage fixing a pipe, half listening to the noise from the kitchen. Ryan and Chloe were laughing, arguing about whose turn it was to do dishes. Then Ryan shouted, "Why should I even bother? Mark's not my dad. He's just the guy who pays for everything." The words stung, but before I could even react, I heard Sophie's voice. She laughed, not loud, but enough. And then she said, "Just ignore him. You know how Mark gets. He thinks paying the bills makes him the boss. I froze. For years, I accepted her silence, her refusal to correct the kids when they crossed the line. But this wasn't silence. This was agreement. This was my wife, the woman I trusted, validating their contempt for me. I stood there, gripping the wrench in my hand, feeling like the ground had shifted beneath me. 8 years of loyalty, of sacrifice, of love, and in one careless laugh, she confirmed what the kids had been saying all along. To them, I wasn't a father, and to her, I wasn't a partner. I was just the man paying the bills. That was the moment I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. I could forgive childish arrogance, but I could not forgive betrayal from the one person who should have stood beside me. That day, I made my decision. Something had to change. Immediately. The very next morning, I asked everyone to sit down in the living room. I wasn't shouting, I wasn't angry. I was calm, maybe too calm. They sat across from me, expecting another lecture about chores or respect. But what I told them was different. "You're right," I said, my voice steady. "This isn't my house. If that's how you feel, then you can pack your things and go live with your real father." For a second, silence hung heavy in the air. Then Ryan smirked, letting out that arrogant laugh only an 18-year-old can muster. Sophie's eyes widened, disbelief spreading across her face. Chloe's jaw dropped, as if she hadn't expected me to actually call her bluff. I didn't waver. "You have 3 days," I continued. 3 days to gather your things. I'll even help you pack." They thought I was joking, until they saw me pulling boxes from the garage. When the time came, I loaded their clothes, their belongings, everything into my truck. And then I drove them straight to Peter's shabby 2-bedroom apartment on the other side of town. The look on Peter's face when he opened the door was priceless. Confusion, panic, and a flicker of guilt. I handed him the boxes and said, "Your kids. They wanted their real father. I'm just making it easier." This wasn't revenge. I wasn't doing it to hurt them. This was a lesson about respect, about gratitude, about what family truly means. Because in that moment, I wasn't the villain. I was the only one willing to remind them that love without respect isn't family. It's charity. Peter's apartment was nothing like the home they had left behind. It was cramped, dimly lit, with peeling paint on the walls and a sour smell that clung to the air. There were only 2 bedrooms, already cluttered with his belongings. There weren't enough beds, no extra sheets, and the fridge was nearly empty. Reality hit them the moment they stepped inside. This wasn't comfort. It was survival. Sophie tried to reason with me in the days that followed. She called, she cried, she begged me to reconsider. "Mark, please," she whispered over the phone. "They didn't mean it. They're just kids," but my answer was firm. "I need respect, Sophie. I need to feel like more than a wallet. Until that happens, I can't call this a family." The first week was silence. No calls from Ryan, no texts from Chloe. Just an aching void where family should have been. Then the messages started. Ryan's first. "I messed up. I didn't mean it. I was being stupid. Please let us come home," Chloe followed. "I'm sorry. I miss you. I didn't realize how much you did for us." Even Sophie admitted her failure. She told me she had been too soft, too afraid of confrontation, and in doing so she left me standing alone. "I should have backed you up," she said. I read every word carefully, but I didn't let my guard down. Apologies are easy. Respect is harder. And respect isn't spoken. It's shown. So I waited. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't chasing their approval. I was demanding it. A few weeks later, Sophie came back to my door with Ryan and Chloe. They weren't laughing this time. No arrogance, no smirks. only desperation. "We're sorry," Sophie said softly. "We want to come home." "We'll change, I promise," Ryan shifted uncomfortably. "Yeah, I didn't mean what I said." "We need you, Mark." I listened, but inside something had already shifted. I wasn't the same man who begged for their approval. I wasn't waiting for crumbs of respect. "I hear your words," I told them, "but words are cheap. You didn't miss me. You missed the life I provided. That's not love. That's not respect." Sophie's eyes filled with tears. She reached for my hand, but I pulled it back. "For 8 years, I gave everything, and you treated me like nothing. Now you want back in because it's easier than facing reality. I can't live like that anymore." The silence was heavy. Ryan looked down. Chloe wiped her tears. Sophie finally realized this wasn't a negotiation. It was the end. That night, I closed the door behind them. Not with anger, but with peace. Because sometimes walking away is the only way to reclaim yourself. Looking back, I have no regrets. The hardest thing I ever did was closing that door, but it was also the most freeing. I cannot survive in a family where respect flows only one way. Love without respect isn't love. It's dependence, and it drains the soul. I gave them 8 years, and they showed me what I truly meant to them. Now I've shown them what I mean to myself. So let me ask you, if you were in my shoes, would you have done the same? Would you have walked away, or swallowed your pride to keep the family together? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this story struck a chord with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support keeps stories like this alive.